Welcome back to Traders Only on CNBC TV 18. We just heard the Biocon management detailing the numbers, and the stock really was moving nowhere. The numbers did appear fairly in line, but we do have the management with us. Ms. Mazumdar does join in. Thanks, Ms. Mazumdar, for joining in. Your numbers more or less did meet street estimates. A quick question with regard to your biopharma business. It did grow nearly around 18%, did beat estimates of 15%. What's the outlook on that front?
I think we are very encouraged by improvements in product mix, better margin realization, and I think our business, especially in the LATAM regions, are really gaining a lot of traction. I think the biopharma business has really done very well on the back of both insulin and immunosuppressant sales, and I think we are very confident that this growth momentum in the biopharma business will continue for the rest of the year.
Hi, and thanks so much for taking the time out and joining us. Your clinical research, or Clingene and Syngene, has done very well this quarter. So last quarter it grew by 26%. This quarter growth rate has come in at 46%. Is this 40-45% growth rate sustainable in the remaining 2 quarters on CRO?
Well, I'm sure you do realize that a large part of this boost has come from the weak rupee. So I think from that point of view, yes, we have gained considerably. It all remains to be seen where the rupee, what the rupee levels are going to be like in the second half. But having said that, I think even if you were to discount for the weakening rupee, I think yes, the growth is still at that 30-35% levels, and I think we are very confident that we will end the year on a very strong note in our research services business.
So stripped of currency as well, growth is likely to be 30-35% over here. And could you tell us what margins are? What margins were in this segment in the quarter gone by?
Well, I think margins have been maintained at 25-28% plus in this kind of business. So I think it's a very strong set of numbers that we've seen from research services.
All right, a quick question with regard to your CRO business. There was some talk with regard to listing. Anything on that front?
Well, as I've always maintained, I think we do need to, look at, market conditions, and we certainly will not do anything till next fiscal because there is too much volatility in the market, both in terms of the political situation as well as the economic situation. So I think we will wait for certain parameters to stabilize before we really go to the market.
All right. Also, a quick question, Ms. Mazumdar, with regard to your license income. It did come in negligible, 3-4 crores odd. What's the guidance on that front?
Well, as I've always maintained, I think licensing is going to be very lumpy and unpredictable, and I think we want to make sure that our licensing income does reflect on the value of the assets that we are licensing. So whilst we are not going to just do a deal for the sake of doing it, we want to make sure that we really unlock the value of every asset that we have to license. So despite licensing income being muted, you can see that we still managed to deliver a very strong set of numbers. So we are, of course, focusing on licensing. There are a number of very valuable assets to license, starting with itolizumab. And let's see when we conclude that licensing deal. It could be this fiscal, it could be next fiscal, but we want to make sure that we really unlock good value from this asset.
Okay, could you give us a quick update on the Iron 105 oral insulin?
So Iron 105 is, getting into various clinical development phases. We have had a bit of a setback because of the clinical trial environment in the country. So we were hoping to start some of these trials a few months ago, but I must confess that we have had some delays on this front. But regardless of that, we've decided that if we don't get these regulatory permissions in India, we will move them outside. So that's the measure, the mitigation steps we've taken. But we hope to start these trials very soon. So I think that's as far as I can share with you on Iron 105. But everything is on track in terms of our partnership with BMS, because we had a certain timeline to meet, and that's still on track.
Given how strong growth has been in the CRAM segment, are you looking to expedite any possible listing of this segment?
I think I just mentioned to you that, I'm not going to do it in a hurry unless the various external factors are stable.
All right, Mr. Majumdar, pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining in. We'll touch base with you later this year. All the best in the coming year. But let's slip into a short break. When we return, we'll focus on our bullseye corner. Stay tuned.